I'm ready. Hi there, friends. I hope that you are having a wonderful week thus far. Can you believe it's already the middle of March? That seems insane to me. In any case, in honor of going back to New York City next week for my spring break, I wanted to do a video about some of the things that I miss about living in New York. If you don't know, if you've not been watching my channel for that long, I lived in New York City this past summer while I was interning and taking a class up there with some of my friends through a program at my university, and I miss it so much. Also, disclaimer, I have a bit of a cold right now, so if I'm sniffly, if my nose is red, that is why, but don't worry, we're gonna power through. So one of the first things that I really miss about living in New York is being able to walk to things. And I know that sounds weird, especially because I live on a very walkable campus, but I can't walk to a Starbucks, I can't walk to a Chipotle. I was very lucky and lived just off of Union Square, so I could walk to work, I could walk to dinner, I could walk to buy groceries, and I really miss walking to Trader Joe's. None of my friends will be surprised by the fact that the second thing that I miss is Smackery's. Smackery's is the best cookie company in the world. It's right off of Times Square, kind of on a little side street down by the Theater for Kinky Boots. It's a cookie store with all kind of different flavors. They have different flavors every day, and they are simply the best cookies in the world. It's also very tied to the Broadway community and does a lot of really cool work. And their social media is bomb, so you should totally check them out. One thing that I really loved about living in New York this summer was actually hearing different languages, like walking down the street and hearing languages. Sometimes I had no idea what they were. I would always get really excited whenever I heard French and I could like understand what the people were saying, and I'd be like, oh, I know what they're doing. But I really miss just living somewhere so cosmopolitan that you hear different languages every day. My number 5 thing on my list is Trinity Church. I actually went to Trinity Church quite a few times this summer. It, for me, is the most calming place in New York, which can get a little bit crazy with all the hustle and all the people. But I would just go down to Trinity and go in, and sometimes I would light a candle, sometimes I'd just kind of sit or hang out in the graveyard, which sounds weird, but it's where Alexander and Eliza Hamilton are buried, and Angelica Schuyler Church, and Hercules Mulligan, and a bunch of really other cool historical figures. And I just love going down there because I find it so calming, and it's just this crazy piece of history in the middle of all these skyscrapers. I actually really miss the subway. I know that the subway has this reputation of being like dirty and gross and hard to use, and I'm not saying it's not any of those things. I saw rats all the time. But I love being able to get from one side of the island to the other for very little money, very quickly. And obviously, like, it sounds funny, like, especially because I was there in the summer whenever the subway was approximately like 4,000 degrees. But I really miss using it. I don't really like driving. I love my car now, but like, I don't like to drive, so I miss the convenience of the subway. I also really miss Pret's. Pret a Manger is one of my favorite restaurants and definitely my favorite like fast food restaurant, counter service, whatever you want to call it. I miss it so much. I miss their like ham, butter pickle sandwiches. I miss the little fruit pots. I miss the lemonades. Oh my god, the pink lemonade. And it's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to going to in New York next week, because I just loved being able to get fresh food for not that expensive, on the go, easily, because we don't have anything like that around here. I also just really miss being in a city that feels so historical. Obviously, New York actually like dates back much farther than the town that I live in here in North Carolina, at least as far as like being a true city. And I just loved living in the city where you know that like things were happening back as far as the 15 and 1600s, really, because it was the Dutch colony before it was even an American colony, or like a British colony. And I loved living in the city and knowing that, you know, people like Alexander Hamilton lived in the city, and going to places that he had been and that, you know, that important things happened, was just really cool. I mean, not to be super cliche, but like, history is happening in Manhattan. And I think it's also, there's something about New York that feels historic, like you feel like history is being made around you, and that people are going to look back and have that same feeling one day, and you'll have been there. Yeah, I'm a history nerd. It's fine. That's why I have notes for this video. I'm not gonna lie. If you had to ask me the one thing that I miss most about New York, it's either the food or the theater. One of the things that I really miss is all the different types of cuisine. I mean, obviously I already talked about Pret and Schmacker. You know I love the food, but I miss my favorite teriyaki place. I miss going for dim sum. I miss... What? They're falling. I miss this Belgian restaurant that we would go to. I miss Indian food and Chinese food in the city and just all these different types of like ethnic cuisines. I miss the Italian food. Oh my gosh. We went to this one Italian restaurant whenever my best friend Alex visited that we were like fairly sure might be run by the mafia, but it was worth it. And then of course, the thing that I miss most is Broadway. I love living in a city where so much theater happens. Musical theater is obviously like my biggest passion, and being able to be surrounded by it, to be able to go to shows, and also just know that you're walking around in the same city as all these people that you admire and who are creating such important and good work is so great. I'm so excited. Next week we're seeing 3 different shows, and I will definitely be vlogging and will give you reviews, and then of course I will put reviews up on my blog because I cannot wait to be reunited with the theater capital of America. So those are the top 10 things that I miss about New York. If you guys love New York too, then let me know what your favorite things are about it. And don't forget to check back later this month for my New York City vlog. Alright, I'll see you guys again next week. Bye!